going on, all you Lord Moblers? Alright, so just a short video here. I am looking at some packs and just going to walk through those briefly, and I'm also going to train some soldiers in this video, show you how I go about that once I've actually bought a training pack, which I did the other day but I still haven't used. So there's a couple of key things that you're going to be looking at when you're training soldiers, in my opinion. That way you're not being wasteful and you can maximize what you get out of it. So up and away pack, just real quick on this one, it's good to have one migration scroll. Those become expensive. You can buy them for $5, or you can hop in here, save up your guild coins, and down at the bottom you're going to see migration scroll. You can buy one of those for 800, 10,000. Those are the only two ways to get those migration scrolls commonly, unless there's some special event that I'm not thinking of. So that's something that you're going to want. That allows you to move from one kingdom to another. I could get a second one there. I'm not going to right now, but that's what that pack will do for you mainly. The shield, meh, 4 hours. I mean, who cares? Random relocator, that's okay, but it's only worth 500 gems. Name changer, again, who cares? And it's not all that much resources that you're getting out of the deal either, but it's only $5. So if you're really desperate and looking to move kingdoms, that's something you can do here. And so the other packs, we'll talk also a little bit more in depth about moving kingdoms and some of the restrictions that you face and stuff like that in another video. But this is the one I'm going to get here. I'm trying to hit these 17,000 that I need, and this will give me 8,000 of those. So one thing I love about this pack, even though it's not, the best in the whole world, is I'm going to get some materials, which is cool. But these jewels are going to help you big time, and I'll jump into jewels a lot more in depth over time. But basically, these jewels are going to help you as much as your actual gear is going to help you. Jewels are where it's at. So I'm going to go ahead and get that pack here. Worth the purchase to try and boost up the might of your troops. And that's basically what you want to do. You want to save up your jewels and keep on building them up until they're purple or gold before you use them. So that's something to think about. I would not buy, again, I don't buy the second pack because the value is never there in my experience without even looking. That's my thought. You guys know how I feel about hero packs. I mentioned this the other day in the other video about tokens. You're going to get better pack later. Forging Fun, you're just not getting enough, even though it's only $5. Devil's Cap is interesting because if you have one of these on hand and your leader gets taken, guess what? You eat this, your leader dies in 24 hours instead of waiting the 2 to 4 days that it would take otherwise. For $5, you're not getting basically anything else out of that pack. Very little in total for the $5. Not a pack I would recommend just buying. But if you attack a lot and you're risking your leader getting captured, either because your base is open and vulnerable to attack, or if you lose him in a battle when you're sending him out, that's a nice little mushroom cap is a nice little trick to have up your sleeve so that you can get your leader back sooner. Lord Weaver, again, falls into the hero category. Legendary Griffin, this gives you a Griffin chest. It's just monster pack stuff, so you can build those types of materials. Bundle of Energy is interesting because you're going to be able to get the Slayer chest, Brave Hearts, energy, and you can use that energy. Best place to use it is on a bus. So you might not have those if you're still in a restricted kingdom, but later you'll be able to join any guild in any kingdom, and as a result you'll be able to go on these monster buses where for half an hour you hunt a certain type of monster, but in return everybody in the guild is doing that exact same thing as you. And so very quickly, within like 30 minutes or so, you're going to get 300 gifts. And so those 300 gifts equate to a whole bunch of monster items and materials and speed ups and gems and all that stuff. So, keep this energy. Also to note on energy is the Phantom. So when the Phantom comes around, which is in a couple days for us here, this guy here, every single time you attack him, he'll give you Holy Stars, which you can then use in the Labyrinth to get more energy and come back and attack him again and again and again on repeat. And that'll give you a bunch of research speed ups. And so you can pop in here and really get through some of this research. So between monster hunting buses and the Phantom Knight, that's a good pack to hold on to those 50-20k energies. It's a little bit pricey for what it is, but it's still worth it to have all that stuff. Plus, you're getting the Brave Hearts and the Slayer chest, which kind of make that $20 worth it. The Slayer chest almost by itself, I mean, you're getting not enough to justify $20, but between the energy, the Slayer chest, the Brave Hearts, and the little bit of food that you get, the little bit of resources you get, it kind of makes it worth it. Voodoo is another type of monster, so, you know, that kind of falls into the monster pack category. I wouldn't buy it. I would just kind of hunt those monsters for that kind of price. It's just not worth it for me to buy that pack. Same thing with another hero. We've gone over that. We've gone over World Domination, we've gone over Adventure of a Lifetime, and Winning Start and New Adventure. So that's it on the packs. Now, let me jump in here and just very quickly go through how I would go about training. First thing you want to do is equip any gear you have, which is almost difficult to get because the gear that you want to have is through the Hard Rock set. And that's going to give you training speed. And their gear can be a little bit challenging. As you can see, I don't have enough to build even the white of either of those. And they just don't drop a whole lot, and they're the toughest monsters out there. So when you attack them, you're going to see that you're hitting far less than the normal guys. So that's something that you want to think about, is if you can build it, make sure that you have your training gear hooked up right here. Now, aside from that, you also want to make sure that your training speed 1 and training speed 2 are both boosted up to their max, because that will significantly help you. 92% speed boost on 2, and then on 1 it's just going to be, let's see here, 92 plus 30. So with that, I'm getting a huge training boost. Plus here, I want to go to the bottom and look at my training speed and use one of these. So now I'm all set up to do some training. How am I going to do that? Well, I would look at my speed ups first, guys. The training speed ups here, you get a training boost, which I just popped that pill. And then down here at the bottom, I have a few of each one that I purchased. So mainly, I'm not high enough in my barracks. Once I reach T4 troops, then I'll be training 24-hour troops. So I'm just going to let those build up and save up. 15 hours I may or may not use. There's only 4 of them, so you know, I could go either way on that. I have 60 of these 8 hours and 60 of the 3 hours. So I'm going to set up my troop to use the 8 hours first, and then set up my troops to use the 60 second. And how I'm going to do that, let's talk very briefly about troop composition. My goal is to get 300k of each of these T3, and then I might build up a whole bunch of T2s, which is also known as a meat wall. If I have 300k of each of these main troop types, again, I don't care about siege, but if I have 300k of each of those, then I can go out and I can attack with them. And then if I happen to dip under the 300k mark of any one of them, I can build those again. And then otherwise keep building up T2. Now, T2 are much stronger than T1. Significantly. T1 just die. They just die super easy. You lose the battles very quickly. T2 are slightly stronger. They have a little durability to them, and they're still cheap. T3, they have more durability than T2, but they also die pretty quickly. They're not double as strong, such as T2 is to T1 or T4 is to T3. So, you know, that's kind of how you want to set things up. You want to have 300k of your highest tier available. Once I go up to T4, I'll get 300k of each of those, and then I'll just go down and I'll go back to T2. I'll leave the T3 empty, and I'll go down to T2 and just build those up to 2 million for each one, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, as many as I can build. By building T2, it keeps your might down to a minimum. So when people look at you, they go, oh, he's so weak. But really, that guy could capture, if you have 100k here and almost all of it is T2 troops, I mean, you're just gonna surprise the crap out of people. You go out of your shield and anti-scout, they'll think you're nothing. They go to attack you and you capture their leader. So it's all about capping those leaders. But I digress. Let me go back into these troops. I'll show you how I build them. Right now I've got my boost going. So I'm gonna finish the one that I've got going now and just finish it off. But then from here, I'm gonna get this guy up to 300k first, and then I'm going to move on to each of these evenly until they're at least 100k, so I have a nice little range and cavalry unit to send into battle if the enemy happens to be strong with their opposing weakness. So I'm going to get this guy to 3, but it works all the same way. So what I want to do is I'm going to unlock this. Hopefully you have this now. If not, you're going to have to set it each time. But I'm going to lock in at that 8-hour mark. And I could go just over 8 hours. So let's see here. Oh, on the money. Sometimes you'll have a couple extra seconds, and it's worth it to do one less troop. That way you're not always waiting 3 seconds in between, because once you get a rhythm going, that can become annoying. But this is on the money, 8 hours, boom. So I'm going to train. I'm just going to fast forward, auto use. It's going to use one of those 8 hours, and I can do that. I think I used one to finish my first set, so I think that was my second one, which means I have 58 more times that I could sit here and train and just get in that rhythm and just keep on hitting, use, fast forward, auto, boom. And every single time I'm using a lot of the higher up your troops, especially T4, they just eat resources like candy, like nothing. And so you'll see me boost up here, but I'm using a lot of resources. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and just take a quick second and I'll show you what I mean. So right now I have 669 million food, and that's probably one of the things that runs out the fastest very typically. Depending on your troop, see, these ones don't need any stone to build infantry, but if you pop over to range, they don't eat ore, and then if you pop over to cavalry, they don't eat wood. So, but they're always eating food, even though they take turns on what not to eat on the other side of resources. And of course, they're not eating wood or stone, but you get the point. So they're using those up, and we're just going to keep on popping through these. And I'm not going to bore you with this entire video of sitting here doing that, but that's how I set mine up. And then if I sit here and do that with any of my troops, right, they're still locked in at that 8 hours. So even if I pop over and I'm using different resources, I can still train these guys up. Now, if I could go double as much, I'd go twice as quick. So for example, right now it's 8 hours. If I was to unlock this and move it up and it was 16 hours, I would definitely do that. But since I can't, then I'm going to go down. For example, when I get down to my 60 minutes, that's only 3 hours at a time. Or my 3 hours, excuse me, at a time. See that 10 seconds? I'm going to go one less. And then I could do that, or I could actually make it 6 or 9 or 12 if it went to 12. So in this case, it'd be 9. And I'll use those 3 hour speed ups one at a time. Let's see. Yep, so here we go. 8:59:51, and that's going to be my sweet spot for being able to use those 3 hour speed ups. But for now, I'm going to stick with the 8 hour, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. But that's going to be how you train up your troops. And again, I would focus on my T3 troops, getting each of those up to so that I can attack with a full army of that particular troop type each time. And then after that, I'd build up what's called that meat wall with T2 troops. And that's how I would specifically build up my troops personally. Now, I am a little bit jaded. I've had 16 million troops on my main account take me from 640 million might down to 300 million might in a flash, 330 million. And 16 million troops gone, and my sanctuary, once your troops start dying, my sanctuary filled up with T2, so by the time they got to my T4, they all just died, and they had nowhere to go. My infirmaries were full, my sanctuary was full, and it was full of T2, so instead of having 1.2 million T4 in there to revive and have a little strength, I was left with 1.4 million T2, which is like nothing burger. So, you know, that's just something to consider. Some people, in my main account, I mean, I build only T4. So I don't even bother with the T2 because some of the energy that I put into those T2 could just have built more T4, more strength. And for me, because I'm jaded, I don't love the T2 meat wall trap. I'd rather just drive up my might, everybody think I'm as strong as I look, and I would have plenty of power to back up if they hit. But if they hit, those T4 are expensive to replace. So if you get a rally of T5 after you and they attack a bunch of T4 more than 1 million die, guess what? You know, you fill up your infirmary, you fill up your sanctuary, and then they just die, and you're left replacing very expensive T4 troops instead of T2 troops. So, you know, it's kind of a catch-22, but something to think about. But that's it for this video, guys. I will catch you guys in the next one.